Hello students, welcome to today's chemistry class. So we are in the chapter states of matter and we are studying about the topic that is gas laws, especially about gaseous state and how these gaseous state will act differently based on the temperature, the pressure, volume as well as mass. So these are the four parameters by which we can actually study the properties of gas. Right? So we have been studying about the gas laws wherein we have studied the first one, that is the Boyle's law. Okay, so these laws are nothing but the results of various experiments carried out by different scientists based on the parameters like pressure and volume, temperature and volume, mass, okay, or all these parameters. Okay, so Boyle's law, in the previous class we have studied about Boyle's law, wherein it states that the pressure and the volume, they are inversely proportional to each other, right? So we say that we obtain an expression wherein the product of pressure and volume will always be a constant, and you obtain the graphical representation of this pressure and volume as isotherms. The different curves which are obtained based on this pressure and volume are isotherms, where what do we keep constant there? We keep temperature constant for the fixed molecules or fixed mass of gas. Okay, so this is what we have studied in the last class, and one of the expression where we solved various problems, that is based on P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2. So some of the pressure and volume values will be given. What you have to do, you may have to find out another volume or another pressure. So you have to check the question and apply the formula generally. Okay, so that is what we have studied about Boyle's law. In today's class, let us move on to the second law, that is Charles' law. Okay, where we learn about the temperature and volume relationship. Okay, now if temperature and volume we have to study, then what should be kept constant? Obviously that has to be pressure, right? So pressure is kept constant for the fixed molecules of gas or fixed mass of gas. We are not going to change the number of molecules of gas here. The mass will be fixed, the pressure will be fixed, but the temperature and volume will be varied. Now this law was based on the study of this hot air balloon technology. You must have seen that just like a parachute, you have a hot air balloon wherein they use gases, and when these gases are heated or when the fuel is burned, obviously the temperature rises, and because of this they start moving, or the volume increases and the temperature also increases, and that's how they start moving up, right? So based on this idea, that is hot air balloon technology, the particular law was studied and the results were obtained, and these results were given as Charles' law. Now let us see what does this Charles' law say. Now as I said, this happens at constant pressure, right? But what is varied? Temperature and volume is being varied. Now imagine you have a gas, okay, right? What do? We have fixed molecules, okay, we have fixed mass. Now as we try increasing the temperature, when you start heating it, what happens to the gas molecules? Obviously they gain energy, right? Now what happens to the kinetic energy of the molecules? They start becoming more, they start increasing. The kinetic energy of the molecules start increasing. What happens to their motion? That will be faster. So when they are faster, they try moving far away from each other, and what happens to the volume? Automatically they increase, right? So if the temperature of the gas molecules increases, obviously the volume also increases. So that is what Charles' law says. Where the pressure is kept constant, what happens to the temperature and volume? As the temperature increases, the volume also decreases. If the temperature decreases, then volume also decreases. They are directly proportional. Okay, so that is what Charles' law says. So we say at constant pressure, what happens here? The temperature is directly proportional to the volume of gas. So what's the volume? It is a fixed mass, fixed volume. Okay, so the temperature for the fixed mass of gas, fixed mass of gas is directly proportional, right? As the temperature increases, the volume also increases. So we say it is directly proportional, to what? To the volume of gas. Volume of gas. So this is what the law says. At constant pressure, the temperature of the fixed mass of gas is directly proportional to the volume of the gas. Okay, so the temperature and volume remains they are directly proportional. Okay, so that is what the law says. Now you also have to note that. Okay, now imagine you are increasing the temperature starting from 0 degrees Celsius. Okay, now you start from 0 and then you go on to 1 degree, 2 degree and so on. You try increasing the temperature of the gas. Now you also have to remember an important point, that is when you try increasing the temperature for each degree rise, 1 degree, 2 degree, for each degree rise, the volume increases by a value. And what's that value? That is, it increases by 1 by 273.15 of its initial volume. Okay, so it is like 2 times that of, 3 times that of. In the same way, the volume from the initial value, that is from 0 degree, it increases by how much volume? That is 1 by 273.15. So this is an experimentally determined value. So this was a result which they have obtained, that value is 1 by 273.15. Okay, so at 0 degrees Celsius, the volume will be V naught. Imagine. Now what happens at 1 degree or T degree? T in the sense final or the next degree Celsius. For each degree, how much does the volume increase? That is 1 by 273.15. So this you have to understand, children. In order to make you understand in a simple way, let us take an example that you have 2 chocolates with you. Imagine your brother gives you 2 more chocolates. Okay. Now what do we say? You have double than that of what you had before. Right? You had 2. Now you have double. That means 4. In the same way, we say 2 times that of the initial value. I had 2 times that of. In the same way, the initial volume will be 0. But how does the volume increase for each degree rise? It is 1 by 273.15. So this is how it increases. The volume increases. Okay. So this is the value to be remembered. So we say at 0 degrees Celsius, okay, imagine the volume would be V naught, right? At 0 degrees Celsius, it would be V naught. Now imagine at T degrees Celsius, T degree in the sense, so increasing the temperature, 1 degree rise, each rise in the temperature, each degree rise. So we say it is 1 by 273.15 of V naught, right? Of the initial volume, how much it has increased? That is 1 by 273. So this is to make you understand. Now let us try deducing this particular Charles law. Okay. So if we have to write the final volume, that is Vt, final volume, we write it as V naught, correct? That's the initial volume, plus how many times it has increased. That is, how do you write? It is 1 by 273.15 of V naught. That's the T degrees Celsius. So final will be Vt here, correct? So here you have to write T degrees Celsius, how much is the volume? So we write T by, instead of 1, I write it as T by because it is Vt, right? So T by 273.15 of V naught. Understood? So this is how you write the final volume, that is Vt, that's the final volume. Okay, after all the degrees rise in temperature, Vt would be equal to the initial one, that is V naught, plus how many times it has increased, that is T by the final temperature by that of 273.15 of V naught, of initial volume. That's how you write. Okay, so this is to be remembered so that you can deduce the equation. Okay, so Vt is equal to V naught plus T by 273.15 into V naught. Now, you see that, if you see this equation, you find that V naught is common over here. So, we can also write this expression as Vt is equal to, now if you try taking this V naught outside. That's common over here. So let us take it outside, right? And what do you remain back with? So you write it as 1 by T by 273.15, right? Into V naught is 1, that's it. So this is how you get the equation. Now again you can take LCM over here, right? So you can rearrange this equation again. So you write it as Vt is equal to, now if you take this 273 over here, so V naught into 273.15 plus T divided by 273.15. Correct? So this is how you get the equation, right? Now from this particular expression, we have deduced a different scale of temperature, new scale of temperature called the Kelvin scale of temperature. You remember you used to study that whenever you have the scale in degrees Celsius, you actually convert them into Kelvin scale by adding 273.15, right? So that's how you convert them into Kelvin scale, and that value or the Kelvin scale of temperature is said to be a very accurate scale of temperature when compared to degrees Celsius. So here V naught into 273.15 plus T divided by 273.15 is given. Now from this particular expression we have got the Kelvin scale of temperature, right? Or this Kelvin scale of temperature is also called the absolute scale of temperature. That's the absolute value which you take in order to measure the temperature of these gases. So here we can also give these expression, okay, as, now as you all know, Kelvin scale is determined by 273.15, you add up to that particular degree Celsius. Now let me take this particular value as T, capital T. Okay, so this is the standard way of measuring the temperature. So let me denote it as capital T. Okay, so this let me take it as capital T of T, which means that it is a final temperature. So final temperature we substitute as 273.15 plus T. Okay, and the initial temperature I take it as T naught, that will be equal to 273.15. Which also means that at 0 degrees Celsius, if it is 0 degrees Celsius, how would you convert into Kelvin scale? Obviously, it's directly 273.15 Kelvin, right? If you have to convert 5 degrees Celsius into Kelvin scale, what do? You put it as 5 plus 273.15, right? So this is how you convert them into Kelvin scale. Okay, so if I denote it as T of T, which means that it is the final temperature, this is the initial temperature, right? So let me substitute these two values over here. So Vt is equal to, what is 273.15 plus T over here? That is T of T. Substitute it. So V naught into Tt, right? By 273.15 is what? T naught, correct? So you get this equation. So Vt is equal to V naught into Tt by T naught. What is Tt? It's the final temperature, that is plus T over here, and T naught is the initial temperature. Now let me just try arranging this equation. So let me get all the V's to one side, all the T's to other side. So Vt by V naught is equal to T of T by T naught. Right? So this is the final volume, this is the initial volume, final temperature, initial temperature. Now we can also denote it as V2 by V1 or T2 by T1. Final and initial we can also write it as V2 and V1, T2 and T1, right? So here we write it as V2 by V1 is equal to T2 by T1. Or if you have to write this totally, this is nothing but V by T, right? So this is the main thing. What we arrive at, obviously whatever it is, maybe the final value or maybe the initial value, the main thing we notice is that the volume is divided by the temperature, right? So here we get a constant that will be equal to K2. Just how you had as in the Boyle's law, remember that product of volume and the pressure is equal to K1, right? So when you reduced it. Here, this was a product. They are directly proportional. But what do you get when you have to apply constant? It is divided by V by T will be always equal to K2. So when they experimentally determined this, okay, so when they experimentally determined these values, that is when they took the volume of the gases as well as temperature, when they calculated this, when they divided by these two values, they got all the constant values. Okay, so this is what it says. V by T will always be a constant, and that constant is given as K2, which is nothing but the proportionality constant. Okay, so this is what the Charles law says. That means at the constant pressure, the temperature will be directly proportional to the absolute, the absolute temperature will always be proportional to the volume of the gas. Why absolute temperature? We know the absolute temperature, that is 273.15. Right? That's the absolute scale, as I said. They may be called as Kelvin scale or absolute scale or also thermodynamic scale. So these 3 points to be remembered. How can you call this temperature as? And that's why we say they are absolute temperature. So we say the absolute temperature is directly proportional to the volume of the gas. And the expression to be remembered is V by T is equal to K2. Now after deducing this, okay, after giving this all stuff, obviously there has to be graphical representation, right? There has to be a proof for it. So when they tried plotting a graph, that is volume versus temperature, they found that as you keep on increasing the volume, right, the temperature also keeps on increasing. And they also obtained straight lines for different pressures. So when the pressure was kept constant for P4, they obtained a straight line with volume and temperature. When the pressure was kept constant at P3, they obtained a straight line. So for each pressure, they got straight lines. Okay, which means that this particular values will be a constant. Now, as I said, you have an absolute scale of temperature here, 273.15. This particular value, you can also prove it by looking at the graph. Now, when these straight lines were obtained, children, okay, the lines were extrapolated, okay, they were extended towards this x-axis. See here, these dotted lines. So when these lines were extended, they all met at a point, and that point had a scale of temperature that is minus 273.15. Okay, and for all the pressure, it was a constant. That was a constant value. That's why we say this is the absolute scale of temperature, which means that after this temperature, okay, right? So this is the temperature at which the gas will remain, or the volume of the gas will remain 0. After this, the gases will be liquefied. Okay, so they will be in the liquid state where the volume of the gas will be 0. That's the initial value. That's the absolute value. That temperature is minus 273.15. Got it? And after this, the gases will be liquefied. There we do not consider the volume of the gas, right? They are obviously in the liquid state. So where the volume of the gas will be 0, that's the exact temperature value, and that is your minus 273.15. Okay, so this is about the graphical representation, and these lines which you obtain when the pressure is kept constant are called the isobars. Remember this? Okay, in Boyle's law, when you keep the temperature constant, those curves are called the isotherms, because there it is temperature, thermal, isotherm. Here it is isobars, where pressure is kept constant. So these lines which you obtain, these straight lines which you obtain when you graphically represent the volume versus temperature, these are called the isobars. So this is about the Charles law. So next we move on to one of the problems from the Charles law itself. Let's understand the statements first, and then we will move on to the calculation. So first, on a ship sailing in Pacific Ocean, okay, where the temperature is 23.4 degrees Celsius. So the temperature of that particular place, that is a ship sailing from Pacific Ocean, is 23.4 degrees Celsius. A balloon is filled with 2 liter air, right? So volume is given and the temperature is given. So what we study, that is Charles law, is obviously temperature and volume relationship. So we come to know this is from the Charles law. What will be the volume of the balloon when the ship reaches Indian Ocean where the temperature is 26.1 degrees Celsius? Right? So the temperature is being changed from 23.4 degrees Celsius, that is from Pacific Ocean, to Indian Ocean, which will remain as 26.1 degrees Celsius. So volume of the balloon was 2 liter at this particular temperature. Now what happens to the volume of the balloon when it reaches Indian Ocean at the temperature 26.1 degrees Celsius? Very easy to understand. So you have the T1, that's the initial and the initial volume, initial temperature, initial volume. Then you have the final temperature, but you don't have the final volume, right? So what we have to find? We have to find the volume of the balloon at the final temperature. So as we know, we have an expression that is V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2, right? From the previous law which we have reduced expressions, you have that particular formula. But before that, you also should know that we cannot calculate the temperature, right, in terms of the degrees Celsius. We need to get into the Kelvin scale temperature, which is the absolute scale of measuring. So what do? We convert all these temperature from the degrees Celsius into Kelvin scale first and then move on, right? So first, what is given here? V1 is given, what's the value? 2 liters. V2 we don't know, right? T1 is given as the initial temperature is 23.4 degrees Celsius. So 23.4 degrees Celsius has to be converted into Kelvin scale. So what do? 23.4 plus 273. What would be the value? You get it as 296.4 Kelvin. Always when you write Kelvin, you do not put that degree symbol there. Directly it's capital K. Okay, then we have T2. T2 is given as 26.1 degrees Celsius. So when you convert this, you add 273. So you get it as 299.1 degrees Celsius. And it's Kelvin. Sorry. So this is Kelvin. Right? So this is how you convert the degree Celsius scale to Kelvin temperature or the absolute scale. Right? How? By adding 273 for both of them. Both of them you have to add 273.15. If you have to go imprecise, then you put 15. If no, directly 273. Okay. Now what do? We apply the formula and try calculating the volume, that is V2. So we have the expression V1 by T1, that is from Charles law, V2 by T. Now what do we have here? We have to find out V2, volume of the balloon at the final temperature. So when we try rearranging the equation, you get it as V2 is equal to V1 into T2 cross multiply divided by T1. Right? So this is how you rearrange. Now let us substitute. Now we have V1, how much is it? 2 liters. T2 is 299.1 Kelvin. We have to take it in the Kelvin scale, remember. So 299.1 Kelvin divided by T1. What is T1? What's the value of T1? 296.4 Kelvin. So 296.4 Kelvin. So when you calculate this, when you simplify this, you get the volume of the balloon, that is V2. So here Kelvin gets cancelled. You have liters. So when you calculate, you get it. When you simplify this, you get it as 2 into 1.009, okay, liters, which is equal to, the answer would be 2.018. You have to try this, you have to calculate this, multiply this. So you get 2.018 liters. Okay, so this is the volume of the balloon at the temperature 26.1 degrees Celsius when the ship reaches the Indian Ocean. So this is the volume of the balloon, that's the final volume. So from the Indian Ocean it was 23.4 degrees Celsius from the Pacific Ocean. When it reaches the temperature 26.1 degree, this would be the volume of the balloon, that's 2.018. Okay. So this is how you solve the problems based on Charles law. So next we move on to the third law, okay, given by a scientist, that is Gay-Lussac's law. Okay, so here this particular law is obtained from the Charles law as well as Boyle's law, and this gives the pressure and temperature relationship. Now pressure and temperature is being varied, and what remains constant over here? Volume remains constant and mass remains constant. Okay, so imagine, you know, the tires, the well inflated tires of automobiles or vehicles. In that, the pressure usually remains constant. It is almost constant. Okay, but you see that when there is high temperature or on a hot summery day, okay, what happens to the pressure of the tires? It will be increased. They become, you know, more expanded, which means that the pressure is being increased. Okay, and sometimes this is risky because the tires may burst out due to more of pressure, and that's why the pressure is said to be it should be fixed properly. Okay, so, and also during the winter days, this pressure or the tires will be very compressed. Okay, the temperature will be decreased, right? So the pressure also decreases. So as I said, when the pressure is being increased, what happens to the when the temperature is increased, what happens to the pressure of the tire? Obviously it increases. When the temperature is decreased during winters, the pressure of the tires decreases, which means that temperature as well as pressure, they are varying directly proportional to each other. Okay, so if the temperature increases, the pressure also increases. If the temperature decreases, the pressure also decreases. And that's what Gay-Lussac's law says. So this is being obtained from both of the laws, that is Charles' law as well as Boyle's law, and we get this pressure-temperature relationship. So we say what to be kept constant over here? At constant volume. Okay, at constant volume, what happens here? The pressure varies directly with the temperature for a fixed mass of a gas. So we say the pressure for a fixed mass of a gas, for a fixed mass of a gas varies directly with the temperature, or they are directly proportional to temperature. Varies directly with respect to temperature. Okay, so this is what Gay-Lussac's law says. So first one was the PV relationship, pressure and volume. Then we had temperature and the volume. Then we have P and T, that is pressure and temperature. Okay, so you have to note each of these laws. Do not get confused of what is what. You have to have a great idea about what is exactly the law says. Okay, so this is what Gay-Lussac's law says, that at constant volume the pressure for a fixed mass of gas varies directly with temperature. So the expression for this was given as pressure is directly proportional to temperature, right? Or we can also write this as P by T is equal to K3, which is the third proportionality constant, wherein the pressure is divided by temperature. So this is how you get the expression for Gay-Lussac's law. Okay. So as you all know, when these both are directly proportional, you have to divide it and then you get a constant. When they are inversely proportional, what you have to do? You have to take the product and you get a constant. Okay. So here it is divided by P by T is equal to K3, wherein K3 remains as the proportionality constant. Okay. So this is about the Gay-Lussac's law, very simple to be understood. Okay. And when the graph was plotted based on temperature as well as pressure, as you see, when the temperature increases, the pressure also increases, keeping the volume fixed as well as the mass of the gas fixed. Okay, so they both don't vary, they both are constant, and these pressure and temperature will vary directly proportional to each other. Okay, and these lines, when you plot the graph, you obtain straight lines which pass to the origin, that is 0, and these lines which you obtain when the pressure and temperature is plotted keeping the volume constant are called isochores. Isochore, children. First one is isotherms, temperature is kept constant. Then you have isobars, pressure is kept constant. And the third one where volume is kept constant are called isocores. So these questions may be asked, okay, about the graph or the lines which are being plotted according to the relationships given by the different laws. Okay, so this is about the Gay-Lussac's law which you have studied. Okay, so totally we have studied 3 laws starting from Boyle's, Charles' law, and the last one, that is Gay-Lussac's law, where pressure and the temperature, they both are varying directly proportional to each other. So this is about the Gay-Lussac's law.